So GoodNotes and Notability are definitely some of the most popular note-taking apps on iOS for the iPad Pro. And you can see here I have GoodNotes on the left and Notability on the right, and they are both good note-taking apps. But now we have a new one. Well, I think Noteshelf has existed for a while, but I'm going to be looking at Noteshelf 2. Now, Noteshelf 2 has some of the really core features that both GoodNotes, Notability, OneNote, all the traditional note-taking apps that you're used to. Noteshelf 2 incorporates many of the core features that you are expecting to see in your note-taking app of choice. But it does shine in some certain areas, and that's really what I want to focus on. So this is not a comprehensive review of all the features of Noteshelf, or Noteshelf 2. This is not classic Noteshelf. I haven't used classic Noteshelf at all, so I have no idea how it compares to Noteshelf 2. So this is just a look at more of the distinguishing features and how I think it compares to fan favorites, Notability, and GoodNotes. So in my opinion, I think GoodNotes is a little bit overrated. I much prefer Notability to GoodNotes, and I've made that apparent in many of my videos because Notability definitely suits my needs more conveniently than GoodNotes does, and I think that for that reason, I'm obviously going to prefer Notability. And for some people, GoodNotes is going to be better, but for me, I definitely do prefer Notability. And you can just looking at GoodNotes. So one of the things that I really disliked about GoodNotes was the UI. So the way this looks. On the left, this is GoodNotes, and I'm scrolling here. It looks okay, in my opinion. It doesn't look that great. It's pretty easy to find, all your categories and things like that, and to create notebooks and stuff, but it was just kind of, it wasn't very appealing for me to look at. And that turned me away a lot from GoodNotes as well. Another one of the features that I really did not care for too much is this page turning feature that you see here. So each you can only have one page open and visible at a time. You can't, have multiple pages open. And for comparison, if you look at Notability, for example, so if we're looking at these lecture slides, or let me pick a topic that I've taken notes on. So if we look at my chemistry notes, you can see that it's a continuous scrolling document. So it's more like a PDF, and it's a lot easier to write and quickly check to see what you wrote before or what came before without having to swipe back and forth just to find the page you're looking for. And that's kind of annoying. That's one of the reasons why I don't usually like ebooks that much. For textbooks, at least e-textbooks, because you have to flip a lot just to see something that you forgot or that you want to review. So those were just some of my gripes with GoodNotes, and there are a whole lot of other reasons why I prefer Notability, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. You can watch those videos as well, and I might update those videos again soon. But we really need to look at Noteshelf 2. Now, I've had Noteshelf 2 for a few days now, and I've tested it out, and I was really excited to look into it and see what it has to offer. And the first thing that I noticed here is when I open it up is that the UI is super clean. I mean, this is nice. I was really excited to see such a clean, modern user interface that is just greeting you when you open the app. So props to Noteshelf for that. Also, I think I should mention, Noteshelf 2 right now, as of this video, is $6.99 on the App Store. So if you ever want to try Noteshelf 2, now is the time because it's only $7. And I think it usually retails for $10. So it's a good grab, I think, if you want to try it out. Anyway, so let's just kind of explore what this app has to offer, and then I'll rank it compared to Notability, GoodNotes, and OneNote. So right now, my current standing from favorite to least favorite in terms of note-taking apps. So my favorite is Notability, then GoodNotes, then OneNote. OneNote really doesn't suit my needs at all. The only good thing about it is, in my opinion, is that it's cross-platform, so you can use it on a Mac, on iOS, Windows, you can use it pretty much anywhere online. So that's what OneNote has going for it, but it really is not suitable for what I would like to do. And what I do with my note-taking apps is I take notes during lecture. So I'm a college student, I need to take notes, and OneNote just doesn't do a phenomenal job, in my opinion. And I have a whole list of reasons for that too, which I also made in a separate video. But I might update that one as well. But anyway, back to Noteshelf. So some of the features that it has to offer. So on the settings here, the preferences, I really like this. You can change the theme. I mean, this is not going to enhance your note-taking experience that much, but it is really nice that Noteshelf is really in tune with their design and the appealing factor that they have going for it. They're doing a great job, in my opinion, with their aesthetic. And that really does put you in a mind to want to use the app, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if that's how it is for everyone, but for me, that's what turned me away from GoodNotes, and that's why I was kind of hesitant with Notability. The UI is okay, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. But Noteshelf is amazing, and I love it. It makes me want to use the app all the time. So just with all these different themes it has going for it, that's awesome. Then it has some of the standard features. You can see here, cloud backup, use iCloud to sync between your devices, your iOS devices. As of this video, Noteshelf 2 does not have a desktop app for Mac OS, so that's very disappointing. GoodNotes, Notability, and OneNote all have desktop apps. And it's not a deal breaker, I don't think, for most people, but for me, it's just a really convenient thing to have. I even pay extra money for the Notability one, and I love it. So Noteshelf, I think, needs to get on that right away. And then, you can have your standard cloud logins, Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, Evernote, OneDrive. This is a pretty standard stuff. I haven't tested the backup extensively because I haven't taken any notes on it. I've just been using some of the features and playing around with it because I don't want to scatter my notes across too many note-taking apps right now. I may do that in the future, though. And then here you can pick your stylus. So right now, I'm using the Apple Pencil. You can switch between Wacom, Addonit, Adonit, I don't know how to pronounce that, 53 pencil. Okay, so if you're using an iPad Pro, you're going to be using the Apple Pencil. But if you're not using the iPad Pro, I guess you could use some of these other styli. Then you have some notebook options, which you can change when you're within the notebook, and that's about it. So right away, clean, simple, very intuitive. It is definitely really appealing to use. So let's jump into one of the notebooks I have here. So the notebook that comes here is titled Sample Notebook. And right away you can probably see what I'm going to complain about. It's structured very similarly to GoodNotes in terms of the page layout. So you only have one page per that's visible at a time, which is very frustrating in my opinion, but it is what it is. And then we can look at some of the pen options that they offer here. So we have this little soft ballpoint pen or a marker, or I'm not really sure what it is, but it writes fine. One of the things I loved about GoodNotes was the writing experience. I thought it had a phenomenal writing experience, even better than Notability. But Notability also has a really good writing experience. So when you're writing here, it's pretty smooth. It looks pretty good. I don't really, it's just like your standard pen, note-taking digital ink that you would use. Now, what really stood out was actually this fountain pen that they offer here, which looks amazing. Let me write that, which looks amazing. But what's not apparent from what you guys can see, but it is extremely apparent from what I can see, is that this is that the lag is super apparent. So there's definitely latency when writing, which is awful. You don't get that with Notability or GoodNotes, and I don't know why it's only apparent with the fountain pen, but it's super annoying. And it really does not let me use this fountain pen because I don't want to see that latency. I got the iPad Pro because it has such reduced lag between the Apple Pencil and the style and the writing. I wanted it to feel like pen and paper, but when you use the fountain pen, it doesn't really do that. So this pen, it has pretty good. It doesn't lag too much when you're using this, but when you're using the fountain pen, it definitely does. And the fountain pen was one of the best features, I thought. I mean, it looks so nice in my opinion, and when you really start to write even neater, I'm not really writing too neatly, but when you start to write neat, it looks amazing. So I'm really disappointed by that, but I'm hoping they can fix that with a software update in the near future, because I would really like to see improvements for that. And this is a pretty big deal breaker for me in terms of using the fountain pen, but I really doubt that most people can notice it. Okay, so I'm just pretty picky when it comes to latency too. So for me, I'm making it seem really dramatic and everything, but you know, for you, if you don't really care, you know, it may not be a deal breaker at all. So just keep that in mind. You know, this is all from my perspective, and I really was trying to turn away from any lag. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, groan, and it was really frustrating. But you know, you may not even notice or even care. I doubt most people do anyway. But yeah, so that is one of the problems that I had with it though. Then you have the highlighter feature here, which is awesome. It has different shapes, so you can use a chisel, like a real highlighter, which is amazing. And you can use just a circular highlighter, like a marker type thing, which is awesome. I mean, the Notability highlighter is not that great in my opinion. It's just okay. I don't remember what the Good Notes highlighter is like, but the chisel feature, I was super excited by that. And before, let me just show you. So this, I kind of forgot to tell you, but this is a pencil feature, which is nice. You know, it's like a pretty standard pencil, but even again here, I know you can't tell, but there is significant lag. But I don't use the pencil feature that much anyway, so I didn't really care. And the colors that they offer are all down here too, which is awesome. They offer a plethora of standard colors like that they've made for you, and they're huge. There's a huge variety. I love it. Always toss in a lot of colors, so good job, Noteshelf. Good Notes did not do that. You have to do it manually, but Noteshelf also lets you do it manually too. So if you want to click edit, you can create your own color here, do whatever you want, something like that. And then you can have your own color. So that's amazing. Like I said, it's very easy to use Noteshelf, and I really love that. It's super easy to use. Next, so yeah, the highlighter, you know, they have a lot of colors with that too, which is great. I mean, most people don't need 12 different highlighter colors, but if you want it, it's there. And again, you can create your own color for that as well. Here's the eraser, which is pretty nice. It has an auto function, so if you can see when I'm erasing, it gets bigger or smaller depending on what I'm erasing. So that's really convenient. I'm not really sure, you know, how it knows how to do that, but it does a really good job. And I didn't look into it much more than that, so it's fine and it works great. Then we have the text feature, the text box feature. So you double click and you create a text box. You type your text. So having a text box instead of just having the text start at the top left or wherever you left off has its pros and cons. The pro is that you can move it around. So this text box can go literally anywhere you want it, and you can make it bigger or smaller and really customize it like that. The con is that you have to line it up wherever you want and then drag the text box from there. And Notability, you don't get to move it around. It just starts typing wherever you last left off. Here, I can show you what I mean by that. So Notability, so even on the lined paper, if I click on the text box, I click on the line and I can start typing right here. And there's no of me moving anything, and it puts it on a line for me, so I don't have to worry about any of that. So I prefer that because it feels more like a Word document, which is what I want. But if you want more customizability, I suppose, with your text box, then you'll love this. And yeah, so you can just put it there and start typing from there. So the text is fine, not my favorite, but it works. And then I'm just going to delete this text, and then the text box will also go away. And then you also have the no pen option, so this is just where you use your finger, and that's fine too. So the one cool thing is the way to add pages, and I think Good Notes also does this, and it's a really nice feature. So if you want to add a page before this, you swipe to the left and release, and you get a page. If you want to add a page after your last page, you swipe to the right and you release, and you get a new page. So that's super cool. And then moving along, we have one of my favorite features that I haven't seen since OneNote, which is ink to shape. So if I draw any shape, it's not going to look perfect. It converts it into a really nice looking shape. So I can do a circle, or that's an oval, I guess, a rectangular thing. I don't know if it does polygons. I can try that right now. So this is a hexagon. And yeah, so it straightens out your lines and it makes it look really good. So when I first saw this, I was super excited, but then I realized that it's not perfect, and it's not what I really wanted. So in OneNote, this is what I want to tell you. In OneNote, when you're writing, and you can just be writing, let me turn this off, so you can write 3x plus 4 or something, And then when you circle it or box it like that, it recognizes the box and it makes it into a nice box, like this does. But in Noteshelf, if you keep ink to shape on and you start writing 3x plus 4, it starts converting everything into shapes. So now my 3 looks weird. If I draw a 2, it'll look jaggedy. If I draw a 5, it'll look jaggedy. So that was annoying. I wasn't expecting it to do that, but I guess it makes sense that it would do that. But then when I box it, obviously it looks good. The box looks good. So it has its pros and its cons. It's better than nothing. Notability and GoodNotes should at least offer ink to shape, I think, but they don't, which is very disappointing. And I'm really happy that Noteshelf at least offers this. I wouldn't mind writing 3x plus 4, and then right before I'm about, let me do that again. Writing 3x plus 4, and then right before I'm about to box it, I just click ink to shape, box it real quick, and it looks nice. Because it's really hard for me to make good shapes when I'm taking notes digitally. Even when I'm not taking notes digitally, I'm just bad at drawing shapes, I guess. But that is an amazing feature that I think has serious potential and should be updated immediately. So that not all your characters are converted to shapes, only when it recognizes a shape. And I'm sure they can do that because the OneNote does a really good job with that. And I really miss that feature a lot. Then moving on, we have this thing, which is like that zoomed in text box. So if you need to write something really small, you can write it down here. I have note to shape on, or ink to shape. You can write it down here so that you don't have to like zoom in by pinching. You can just have this. And it has, this is not something that is too revolutionary. You see this in GoodNotes as well. I don't know, I forget if Notability has it or not. I never use it. It just seems like kind of useless to me, and it's more annoying, if anything, in my opinion. If I really need to zoom in and write something, then I'm just going to pinch to zoom and write whatever I need to. And then moving along, we have this, so you can share. You don't have to share all the pages in your notebook. You can share a selection of pages, which is amazing. I don't know why Notability doesn't offer that. I don't even know if GoodNotes offers that. I don't use GoodNotes a lot anymore to see that, but the fact that Noteshelf allows you to do that is awesome. Moving along, you have the thumbnails that you have also in Notability, which is really nice. So I feel like Noteshelf took a lot from Notability and GoodNotes and OneNote and tried to take some of their best features and made it into their own application, but they left out some of the features that have compelled me to use Notability to begin with. Mainly this swiping thing to get to your new pages. But anyway, looking at the thumbnails, that's fine. You can search your notes, search the text, that is. You can't search, it doesn't do ink to text, I don't believe. Let me just double check, though, to make sure. But I don't believe it does do that. Yeah, I don't think it does. So if you click edit, you can select a page, and then you can add a tag to it, so you can find it. Then you can duplicate it. Duplicate that. If you want to, you can trash it, and you can also move it to a new folder, which I'll get into later. And then you can also drag this thing over, which is super cool. So you can see it in like a more GoodNotes type view or a more Notability type view where the thumbnails are just on the side. So this is like GoodNotes, this is like Notability. So cool, very cool features. And yeah, so those are some of the main features. Now, if we go over here to this plus tab, you can add a new page from here, a new page from template, import documents, photos, record audio, emoji, pretty common features. The page tags, I don't know if Notability or GoodNotes have that. I don't remember. I don't really use it anyway, so it's fine. Recording audio is nice. You have some, you can choose what audio recordings you have, photos, this is all pretty standard stuff. Now, if you go in the settings here, and we go at the notebook options, what you can do is, which I don't think you can do in Notability, I haven't been able to do it yet, is you can change the page template. So the page that I'm on right now looks like college ruled paper. So I can go here, change the page template, and we'll make it checked. And now only this page changed. The page before it is the same, the page after it is whatever it was, and you can see here this one is a legal page, this is another graph page. So that's really cool. And your page numbers are down here if you want to see what page you're on, and the notebook you're in is right there. So very nice. I believe in GoodNotes you can also do this though, which is cool. Now, Notability does offer correcting your lines. So if you draw like a kind of crooked line like I just did, it'll make it into a straight line for you, and I can show that right here. So if I do this, put a line, and I hold it down, it straightens it out. I think Noteshelf only does that if you are in ink to shape. So if I do this, then it makes it a straight line. But you had to click ink to shape to do that. Any more? Let me just double check the more. So you can also auto backup, set a password, which is cool. I wish you could set a password in Notability. I don't need it right now, but it would be a good feature to have. And yeah, so that's basically how you'll be taking notes with Noteshelf too. Now, back to the UI. So the way to organize notes is also superb. I think it's better than Notability, GoodNotes, and OneNote all combined. It's very similar structure. It's structured very similarly to GoodNotes, but it looks way better than GoodNotes. So GoodNotes had the right idea, just poor execution in my opinion, but Noteshelf 2 fixes that. So here you can create your different categories. They call it categories. I like to think of these as subjects. So if I'm taking English, English 1, I'm not taking English or English 1, but you have English 2, you can have all your different English-related notebooks in this subject. So it's really easy to look for whatever you need, which is awesome. I just created this new folder category called New Notes. I'm actually going to delete that, and you can slide right and trash it to delete that. Now, if we go back to here and we go through some of the edit settings, so you can duplicate it here. Now you have 2, sample notebook and sample notebook 1. Then you can trash the duplicate if you want. And then you can move this notebook to one of your other categories or subjects. So I can move it to Spanish if I want to and click move, and it'll move it there. And you can also change the cover of your notebook. And the covers are really nice. They have some really nice simple ones. And you can join Noteshelf Club, I guess. I'm just seeing that right now if you want more of that and paper templates. And then they also have retro ones, ethnic, waves, whatever. A little too many covers that I need. I don't need all of them. I would just stick with the simple ones anyway, but they're there if you want them. And that's how that works. Then here you can share your notebook. I didn't see an option to use AirDrop, which is weird. Maybe I'm just missing something, but I looked and I couldn't find a way to share it via AirDrop, which I do very often with my friends. So that's not there. I don't see an option to export it as a PDF either, so I'm not really sure how that works. But I'm sure somewhere or another you can get this so that other people can also access it. Notability just makes it way easier, way more straightforward in my opinion when it comes to that. But oh, here you are. Now you can save it as a PDF here. So you can save it to your files as a PDF, and then from there, I guess you can AirDrop it using like iCloud Drive. Is that what it's called? I don't even use iCloud Drive. I use OneDrive, but you can share it, back it up as a PDF. I'm sure that's a pretty standard feature, and that's how you access it. Now, one other feature that sets Noteshelf 2 apart is that you can scan documents. So it's not too convenient, unfortunately, but the option is there, and they can always update it in the future. So it's nice to know that you have that ability. And then you can do a quick create, which is right here. It'll create a random cover, random paper, and you'll just have a random notebook. Then you can import documents, like I said, from all these different places. You can import it from Dropbox, Google Drive, pretty much anywhere. It has pretty standard features. And the reason I'm not worrying too much about whether they work or not is because as time progresses, they'll definitely update it, I'm sure. So I'm not too worried about any of the sharing features because I'm sure they'll come eventually if they don't have it now. And I don't want to extensively test all that because that'll take a lot of time. And I don't need to create too many notes in here anyway. So, my final verdict of Noteshelf 2. Pleasantly surprised. Wasn't expecting much, to be honest. I was just excited to use another note-taking application. And it came in. It almost brought its A game. It brought what it could at the moment, is what I'm going to say. So, it beat GoodNotes for me. I really do prefer to GoodNotes, and that's just because I don't really need to use the ink to text feature where you can search your handwritten notes, but if you do need to use that, then stick with GoodNotes. It was just more appealing to use. Noteshelf was, and it was just more fun and intuitive, and it just looked like a very organized, structured application. GoodNotes still it just looks like a mess to me right now. It just looks dated. I think it needs to be updated for sure. And I'm really hoping that they'll do that soon, and I'm sure they will. GoodNotes is a pretty big application. So my new ranking. Notability still triumphs in my opinion though. Notability, the fluidness of being able to just treat your notes as like a continuous flowing document just has so many perks in my opinion. The ease of export and sharing is unparalleled, and it's just easy to use and organize. Granted, the UI I think could definitely see some upgrades in Notability as well. I would like to see that in the future, but in terms of everything else, it still is top dog in my opinion. It does the best job right now. But Noteshelf 2 is my second favorite. So Notability, Noteshelf 2, GoodNotes, and unfortunately OneNote is still at the bottom. But no, OneNote is free. So let me just end this video by saying, if you have not tried digital note taking yet, you definitely need to start with OneNote. OneNote is free, and it's going to give you a taste of what digital note taking will be like. And if you like it, it's only going to get better from there. So that's what I would say, is everyone should definitely try OneNote. But I think Noteshelf 2 definitely deserves a chance. I don't think people will download it though that much because most people are stuck between Notability and GoodNotes if they want to spend money. Notability because it's awesome, and GoodNotes because they want to use ink to text and search their handwritten text. But I definitely think that if it's still $6.99 when you're looking to buy, Noteshelf 2 is a really good option if you don't want to waste $3 extra on a note-taking app. So that's all I have to say.